Thank you. Good evening and welcome everyone to Bexhill-on-Sea Town Council's full council meeting tonight, Wednesday the 29th of October. Can I remind people about mobile phones? If you have a mobile phone, please put it onto, at best, at worst, airplane mode, or turn it off, please. That would be very helpful. It does affect the microphones. We've recognised that before. We have members of the public with us tonight. Would you mind showing by raising your hand if you wish to speak? Thank you. So I'll go on to item 1, which is public participation. So if you could come to the microphone there, introduce yourself and I have 3 minutes.
Okay, Victoria Carson, and I'm a resident of Collington. I recently attended the devolution event at the Delaware Pavilion and was disappointed by both the choice of venue and the timing. The only confirmed information shared was the preferred structure of devolved local government in East Sussex and the key dates set by central government. Details that could have been published on the BTC, RDC and ESCC websites and their social media rather than requiring an expensive in-person event. After the meeting, I contacted the clerk as the chair mentioned this would not be the only meeting. I suggested that future meetings be held in a smaller, more cost-effective venue. For example, St Augustine's offers excellent facilities, is on a bus route and costs about £20 an hour, compared with the £3,200 total cost of the pavilion. I note that tonight the council is discussing a proposal for toilet attendance. The money spent on just the dry hire of the Delaware Pavilion would have paid for approximately 160 hours. Only around 60 members of the public attended an auditorium that seats over 600. It represents a poor return on our council tax money. If attendance numbers were uncertain, a booking system such as Eventbrite or TryBooking issuing free tickets or simply asking residents to register interest would have provided a good estimate and avoided unnecessary expense. I urge the Council to adopt an approach such as this in future, using appropriately sized venues and ensuring better value for local taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. As there's no other questions, I will move on to item 2, which is apologies for absence. We may have some.
We have quite a few. Councillor Carroll is working, but he will try and be here if he can. Councillor Crotty is unwell. Councillor Drayson has family commitments. Councillor Goss is on holiday. Councillor L is working. Councillor Hunt is also on holiday. Councillor Hussain is working, and Councillor Ruston couldn't find childcare. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Quite a few. So as always, do we take those on block to accept those apologies? Looking for nodding heads. So proposer and seconder. Proposer, Councillor Lee. Seconder, Councillor Thomas. All those in favour of accepting those apologies? Those apologies are carried. Thank you. Item 3, to receive declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interests. Councillor Plymouth.
I have a non-pecuniary interest in item 15A. Naming of roads as a postal worker, I have an interest in.
I see, yeah, good point.
And I've got some concerns I'd like to raise regarding.
Okay. Councillor Winter.
Member of Rother District Council, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Byrne.
Member of Rother District Council and Trustee of the Men's Shed.
Thank you. Councillor Timpey.
Member of the Rother District Council.
Thank you. So move on to item 4, Chair's announcement. I do have one announcement, which I was planning to dial into the ESALC session that they have for councillors, new councillors, existing councillors, chairs who want to be educated, people who might want to be a chair in the future, run by Trevor Lego. I was meant to be going on the 6th of November. I now can't go because I have a funeral to go to. So there is an opportunity. I was the last one in, so if anybody wants to do that, then there is an opportunity to dial into it. If you haven't so far, I would recommend that you get a lot of anecdotes of scenarios that can help councillors in the future. So there's that opportunity. Okay? If you want to, if you contact the clerks, you can make the arrangements. It's literally just a Zoom session. So, item 5, minutes to approve the minutes of the meeting on the 24th of September that have been distributed. You just need a proposer and a seconder to approve those. Is that a proposer? Yeah. Seconder, Councillor Thomas. So Councillor Burns proposing. Second, all those in favour accepting those as a true record? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6, Mayor's Office. I haven't been remiss in sending a report, but I haven't written one because I've only actually done 4 events since the last full council meeting. So, and 2 of those were last weekend. It's a very quiet time in the mayoral structure, October.
Quiet time for everybody.
But rest assured, from this Friday, I should be busy virtually every day, if not every other day. So I'll go back to reporting what the Mayor's up to in the next full council meeting. Okay, item 7, reports from external councillors. We don't have any county councillors here to receive.
Can we just note that Councillor Hollidge did send apologies?
Yes.
Thank you.
As Councillor Hollidge is normally here, he did send his apologies, but he is not able to make tonight. So that's 7A. 7B, to receive ward district councillors' reports. We have 3 district councillors. Anybody wish to say anything? Otherwise, I'll move on. To receive ward reports from town councillors. Councillor Peters.
Yeah, just about potholes in Collington, the campaign again, as you know, that Pages Lane, just after the last full council, Pages Lane and Collington Avenue has been resurfaced.
Excellent.
And the 2 dangerous dips have been filled in, which is great. So the campaign will continue. I've just done 109 potholes in Ascombe Drive alone. So we're getting there anyway.
Good. Excellent work. Councillor Tingley.
Sorry, excuse me. In Sackville Ward, I had a resident come up to me and praise the work, and I think it must have been our rangers did on Brassey Road. Is that correct, Clark? I don't know. Yeah, they were very complimentary, and apparently it's been a right mess. Well, I know it's been a mess for a long while, so just to pass on those congratulations.
Good.
Can you tell me what they did on Brassey Road?
Sorry, through the chair.
Sorry, Chair. What was done on Brassey Road, please?
There was a lot of debris with leaves and a lot of overgrown bushes, etc., etc. So,
It's actually still there.
well, the top, I think it's been done.
I live on Brassey Road.
Okay, we'll
The
review
resident
that.
was
Sorry,
happy,
yeah.
so I
Sorry.
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other
Morning.
reports from town councillors? Otherwise, I'll move on. Item 8 on the agenda, planning matters. The majority of this is to note, and it's things progressing. It's just to update everybody as to what's happened since the motions were passed at the last full council meeting. Unless anybody, particularly the chair of that, wants to say anything, otherwise I would propose moving on to item 9. No hands going up, so I'll move on to item 9, which is local government reorganisation, which is the standard item on our agenda, and it's again to note further planning information on car parks is being sought from Robert. So moving on to item 10, there's a lot of noting here. We still there was a little bit of confusion as to where the lease was sitting, but we've now understood it, so we should be getting a little bit closer to getting the lease sorted out for the Pepsham Recreation Ground. As often, one person can think one person's doing it and vice versa, so our clerk's been on the case to chase up just where it is, so that's an update on that. Because of the questions, 10B, because of the questions that were asked around the lease of Devonshire Square, we haven't got the lease back and the answers to the questions, which I did flag that if you ask a lot of questions, it can delay getting the lease signed, and that's what's happened. So Network Rail have got to go around and get the answer to the questions for us. But we're still operating it, and it's just a paperwork exercise. 10C, to note costings and conditions of town centre planters yet to be received. So that related to the motion which was passed at the last full council meeting, and I would just like to talk about this a little bit if you can bear with me. We've been asked, the council chose to ask for the cost of the planters, which I would like us, there hasn't been a motion put forward, but I would like this town council to consider, why don't we just take them and do them, and the cost associated will be some plants, and if they break we'll have to replace them. So we're going to go through this whole process of waiting for Rother to contact us to give us the costings of things when they're planters that the town council could be looking after even better. We've now got 3 rangers who can help with that, and it's just a few plants which Councillor Crotty said at the last meeting that he could probably get some local plant people to provide some of those. We can get the town council emblem on it, and they would be the town councils. So I would like to suggest that we just don't wait to get an answer of costings, and we just move on and we write to Rother to say we will take them. Councillor Lee.
Yeah, I've seen these things. They're perfectly fine. They just need replanting. That's all there is to do with them. They're all perfectly. They're substantial. They're fine. They don't need any work doing to them. They're literally just need plants put in them. Yeah.
I just think we're blocking up progress with things rather than just doing it for the sake of understanding. And realistically, if we had to replace a planter, which is probably going to last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, it might be a couple of £100 over a 10, 15 year period. And we're going to wait to take responsibility for them when we've got the option to take them now. So I'm putting a motion forward tonight under this subject that we just take them and we don't wait for the costings. We go to Rother and say, yes, we'll take them. I just need a seconder.
I'll take it.
Thank you. Open to debate before I go to the vote. Councillor Jacqueline.
I would just note that we're about to go into winter, and while spinach does grow in our garden and we can pick it at Christmas, January tends to be a bit tough. So what the optimal time is for planting that, well, I don't know. Okay,
well, we can sort that out through, but we've got to get responsibility from them first. Councillor Byrne?
Should we have trouble with the planters, the men's shed are currently making planters for St Leonard's Road, so there is a local manufacturer, high quality, low cost, well maintained planters.
Anybody else wish to pass any comment?
Just to say one more thing, I've seen these, they're perfectly fine.
Okay.
They'll last for another couple of 3 years, 4 or 5 years, yeah.
So I would like to propose that we just take them and not wait for an answer of the costings, and we will manage them and we will maintain them. I've got a seconder. All those in favour, please show your hand. All those against? Abstentions? Carried. 10D, to note an update from the leaders' meeting. Do you want to talk about that, or shall I talk about that?
I'm happy for you to.
We'll have a different voice.
Oh gosh, it was beginning of October now we had the last leaders meeting, which I think because we've not had a meeting in so long, it feels like it was absolutely ages ago. There were some really good discussions had. One brought forward by Councillor Bayliss about what the town rangers actually did. A little while ago, a report went to the Amenities Committee outlining sort of the responsibilities of the rangers and what they will be doing in the future and what they're already starting on. So I presented that report for everyone to see, and Rother were very, very pleased. They said a lot of lovely things about the rangers and what they're going to be doing, which is really nice. Councillor Oliver spoke a bit about the Marine Gardens. Not sure if anyone here has noticed, but there's a spare plot there. So Rother are potentially going to speak to Bexhill and Bloom, see if they can do anything there. Maybe reach back out to us and see if we can do anything there. We spoke a little bit about the leases and the licences and how long things were taking and how complicated things were getting. And Lorna Ford was very, very helpful in chasing that all up, and it's been really great for us operationally to have someone sort of having our back on the other end, trying to unpick everything. What else did we talk about?
I think that was pretty much it. There's also discussions around the potential of the town bus, also known as a yellow bus, going into Sidley. We've got to do some work with them, so that came through the leaders' meeting as well, which will further engage potentially with Sidley into the town and create better network. I think that was about it. There was 5 or 6 main things that we talked about. Normally it would be written up, but we're a little bit busy, so we're trying to just verbalise it, because sometimes verbalising it can be easier than reading a report. And the next one is coming up in November. So it's just an open door. If Joey and her team have issues, we can take it to the table, have a really frank discussion and get a resolution quite easily. So long may that continue. It breaks down barriers. So that's that. So I'll move on to item 11, external representatives. Anybody want to talk about any external representatives that they are? Please show your hand. Councillor Jack.
I've just come from a Coombe Valley meeting at which a document was presented saying this is what we've achieved in the last 5 years, where do we go next? So if there is anyone who feels that their residents use Coombe Valley and who will be interested in seeing that, please let me know. And I've also spoken to Councillor Lee about accessibility, which I raised.
Okay. Anyone else? There's a couple of bits around the neighbourhood board, which I think Cart's going to talk about the first bit, because she's a part of the neighbourhood board, and then I'll go on to something else.
So I went to my first neighbourhood board meeting in early October, and it was a really lovely opportunity to first of all meet everyone, do a bit of networking, introduce myself, and the thing that I mainly wanted to talk about actually was an update from the neighbourhood board. Yesterday we had a visit from Emily Atwood, who is from MHCLG, and they are the body that essentially governs the neighbourhood board. So Emily Atwood came down from Westminster, and had a look around Bexhill, and she had an amazing amount of things to say about the town. And she also had a lot of positive things to say about the board. And she said that we are an exemplar in terms of neighbourhood boards, which is, I think, always lovely to hear. The main thing that she spoke about, actually, that sort of caught my attention was the collaboration between the Bexhill Neighbourhood Board, the Town Council and the District Council. Apparently there's quite a few boards around the country that aren't collaborating yet, and the fact that we're at least entering discussions about future projects is really, really exciting. So essentially, central government have said the neighbourhood board is doing a very good job. So I thought you'd all like to hear that.
She absolutely did. She loved Bexhill. The chair took her for a wander around, took her down the seafront, saw what was going on there, explained the fountain scenario, and she actually hadn't heard of Bexhill, so which I was quite sad about. But then again, why not? So she thinks it's a lovely town. And as Joey said, Bexhill is being used almost as a blueprint for other councils around the country that are looking at what we're doing, and they're virtually copying us. So we are at the forefront, and it isn't anything to do necessarily with the board members, but it's the admin behind it and the leadership of Abby as chair of that board. It's taking it to a very quick level, and we're in the right place. It's going in front of the statutory body at Rother's full council at the next full council meeting, I think, because as the statutory body they have to have sign off, and the plan will go to, I forget the acronym, MHCLG by the 28th of November. Then things will start progressing. The working groups are still ongoing. The website and communications should be live by the end of November. I can't tell you what it is because it's going to be launched, but it's different. It stands out, is what I would say. I wasn't convinced to start with, but I've been convinced, and it's the right thing to do. The working group over The fountains is ongoing. There's a huge amount of work that we've got to do before we can even decide what to do. It's a massive undertaking. A lot of people believe you just go and turn the tap on and they'll work again. It isn't as simple as that. There's a huge amount of involvement. We're starting the procurement process for that as well. So things are happening behind the scenes, but residents won't see some actual happenings for probably at least a year, because we get some capital money, some money on the 1st of April, but not the large chunks until 1st of April 27. Councillor Byrne.
Thanks, Jan. About the fountains, are we chasing Southern Water to give us any technical assistance or financial assistance with the fountain project?
That's in the working group document, yeah.
Fine.
We're discussing that.
It just struck me that if the leaks are underground, they have very specialist equipment for tracing leaks underground, and it'd be a shame if
that's just one of the minor parts of the whole working group.
Well,
It's a massive
that was the main reason for the fountains being switched off in the first place. Well, the leaks are underground, so we can't mend them.
And the direction
for some
of wind.
reason we didn't involve Southern Water, and still haven't.
No. So,
but we will.
There will be learnings, we hope, from the first experiences down there. And until you do something like that, you can't always understand what's going to happen. So we have to learn from that, and that's why the working group is set up with the right people to involve the people who were employed at Rother at the time and various other people. Councillor Jacklin.
I had a water-related question for Councillor Plym, through the chair if possible. I'd forgotten about the bathing water quality meeting, which I believe we had over a month ago, and they promised to send us some information. As far as I'm aware, we haven't had anything.
I've not received anything. Whether the clerk has, I'm not so sure.
So how would we chase that?
I would suggest the clerk would
I'll
be
chat
in
with Jason.
contact.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there's just one other thing from the neighbourhood board, if I may. We spoke about it previously, which is a joint approach behind doing a feasibility study within Bexhill between the neighbourhood board, Rother District Council and the Town Council for the future regeneration of our town around, does Bexhill need a hotel? Someone's got to pay for it. Nobody wants to pay for the whole lot. So it's a collaboration of three groups that have money, can find money. We just need it documented. The last time we spoke about this, it was for our clerk to go away and talk about it. We just need it documented that we are agreeable to paying 1/3 of the costs. We're not sure whether it will be needed by in this financial year or the preset for next year. And we believe it to be no more than 4,000 per 12,000 total. I'll come this side first. Councillor Pym.
Yeah, I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce have done a study on this and have presented it probably a year or two ago to Rother District Council. So the data is all there. So I'm surprised that the collaboration doesn't include the Chamber of Commerce, because they'll be the forefront of dealing with a lot of the hotel chains that would be interested. And let's not forget that we could all sit here and go, we want a hotel, we want a hotel. But if big business that runs hotels don't want to come here, they won't come here unless we throw money at them.
So just to paint a bit more of a picture, there's a third working group on the neighbourhood board, which is the hotel group, and they have investigated, they've lined people up, but they need to pull it all together as one document, so it's much bigger than what the Chamber presented, because it's not just a case of phoning up a hotel chain and come down and say, do you want to build a hotel there? There's a lot of demographics that have to be understood, the evolution of Bexhill with different people coming into the town, how that could work. It's quite a major piece of work. So I know that they did do a presentation, Councillor Plym, but it's much, much bigger than this. So I'm going this side. Councillor Daygrove?
This hotel has been spoken about for quite a few years now.
Yeah.
And this is an RDC initiative. This is nothing to do with the Bexhill Town Council. And in fact, it was talked about before this council was even put in place. So now we find that I mean, I've always assumed that we are independent of RDC.
Yep.
They've got their business, we've got ours, and suddenly they need us to chip in £4,000 for their idea.
No, can I just correct you?
And,
It's not a Rother
yet.
District.
I
Yeah,
haven't
I'm just
finished
correcting you. It's a neighbourhood board initiative driven by one of the members on the board, which happens to be our local MP. So it's not a Rother District Council initiative. So carry on. Carry on. I was just pointing out.
You
it was
do the talking. I've said mine. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Lee.
I've heard about this, and you're throwing money into a group to look at where or what or when and how.
Yep.
There's a building just down here off the roundabout, opposite Beds. There's about 3 people living in it. They call it the Wobbly Building. Nobody can live in the place because you can't get insurance. That needs tearing down, and that's where the hotel should be.
And that would be part of...
That would be where the hotel should be. That one's tearing down and starting again, because that building has never been a success. There's supposed to be shops all around the bottom of it. They don't exist. There's supposed to be people living in there. There's about 3 people live there at the moment. That one's tearing down, and that's where the hotel would be. We don't need to spend £4,000. The answer is right there. There's the solution. That's where it needs to be.
That is just one possibility. There are
It's
numerous.
not a possibility. That's the only one, because there's nowhere else around here to put one.
Okay.
Big enough for what we need.
Councillor Jacqueline.
I should declare an interest that I'm a member of the Bexhill Chamber of Commerce. So first point, my understanding is that the Chamber members essentially said we would like a decent hotel, which I think is different to the purpose of this exercise. So what I would like to clarify is, what question will it answer? Is it, in essence, if there is a hotel, what sort of hotel would work? Because I believe that there are what were hotels, and there are bed and breakfasts, and there are Airbnbs. But on the other hand, down that way and down that way in Eastbourne and Hastings, certainly in Eastbourne there are a lot of hotels, although some of them aren't doing very well.
That would be within the feasibility study as to what type of hotel we would need. Is it what the financial cost of the rooms would be and what's appropriate to this town? Councillor Timpey.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Chair. I think it's important to recognise that the feasibility study is a request from the hotel chains that came down here to meet with the MP and the neighbourhood board, and they are keen to see it, but they don't put a hotel anywhere unless they have these very specific statistics which you can understand. Some information was given to them at their meeting, and they said if they had, and it was particularly Premier Inn, I think, who said this, that if they had known about certain businesses who put people in accommodation already within our area, they wouldn't have put their place in Hastings, they would have put it here. But they don't have the material they need, and this study is really important for the whole of Bexhill and for every business and every resident. So I would very much support the fact that we can do as we said we were going to do and be part of the finance of it.
Okay. Councillor Lee.
I'll answer that. Where would you put it?
I can help with that.
The question would be, where would you put it? That place I just spoke about, that's where it should be. It's right opposite the Delaware. It's right where we need one. There's access, there's underground parking, and that is where it should be. There isn't anywhere else in Bexhill, apart from down Beeching Road, where you could put a hotel the size of what we need. That's
Can I just draw you back to the chair, please? It's not for us to dictate where the feasibility study will deal with. There are numerous places in Bexhill. I could name 3 others that a hotel depends upon what the metrics say the right hotel is to be here, the size of the rooms, the costings, etc. That will all come out of that study. But as Councillor Timpey says, if we don't do a feasibility study that these hotel chains need, we're not ever going to have the opportunity to bring a hotel chain into Bexhill.
I've got to say one more thing. That's a white elephant that's sitting there at the moment.
Okay.
With 3 people living in it. It's a huge development.
I'm not cutting you short, but you've made your point, and I think it's down to the feasibility study to address all of the issues and all of the If you believe that to be, clearly you do, what I would suggest you do is you email the neighbourhood board to make sure that they're aware of that address as part of the spatial plan work that they've done, which will highlight all of these areas and will be a part of the feasibility study.
Sure.
Councillor Byrne.
Just for clarification, and I missed last meeting because I was on holiday, would I be right in thinking that this type of information is what most hotel chains would expect to receive from a local authority?
Correct.
If they're thinking of moving into that area?
Correct.
To inform their business plan going forward. So we're not doing this out on our own, it's general practice, and maybe we should have done it earlier.
It's quite possible, but we are where we are. This is being driven by a working group as part of the neighbourhood board, and part of collaboration means it's the only way to make things happen. Otherwise someone's going to have to cough up the whole 12,000, and no one's probably going to do that. So small bites of the cherry have a chance. Councillor Pym.
There's one group within the three there that has got the ability to cough up 12,000, and that's the neighbourhood board, because they've got £20 million to play around with.
They're coughing up 1/3 of it. But,
you said nobody's got the ability to pay up the 12,000. They have.
That would delay it because their funds are spent for this year and won't receive more money until 1st of April, 1st of May next year. So you make a valid point. They do, which is why they're spending money on other things. But it's the more money you can bring in from other areas, the more things you can move on quicker. So that's it's a requirement that it is documented if it's the wish of this council that we contribute 1/3 of it towards this feasibility study. So I'm happy to put the proposal forward as a member of the neighbourhood board. I need a seconder, and then it will go to a vote, so long as everyone else has finished talking on it. Are you seconding? Okay, so we've got a proposer and a seconder. All those in favour of supporting that, please show your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against? 1, 2, 3, 4. Abstentions? That's carried 5 to 4 with 1 abstention. Thank you. Anybody else wish to talk on external representatives? Otherwise I'll move on to item 12, which is the multifunctional sport court. It's noted. We have to be aware that our clerk is particularly overloaded. We have less resource now in the office than what we had when our previous clerk was here. That isn't going anywhere at the moment. It's when time permits. So item 13, to receive and consider report on employing toilet attendants, which is Appendix B. Do you want to take 2 minutes to refresh yourself, or are you all happy with the document that's been distributed? Okay. This is the proposition that's been made by officers relating to 3 toilets, the pros and the cons of employing toilet attendants. Those that are on social media probably seen some of the photographs recently of some of the damage that is done. Other councils have attendants in place. It's for us to decide what we want to do. So I think the way to deal with this, unless anyone wants to deal with it differently, is to open it to debate and hear what people say and then see where the debate goes. So, who would like to start? Councillor Jacklin.
So obviously there is a cost. To what extent have we reappraised, as it were, how many toilets we can afford, and whether we would be better having fewer toilets with attendants or more toilets without attendants?
Yeah. I'm not sure the answer to that because we've only committed at the moment to clean them round till April, and because of devolution we're not quite sure where all of those will go. This is just referring to 3 toilets, and I think those have been picked on because Devonshire Square is a lease that will be agreed with Network Rail. Channel View East, we have already agreed previously to have a lease directly with that. And East Parade is one that gets damaged, and we want to put some extra protection in there. So I think for this purpose, Councillor Jackie, we just need to focus on these three and see how the rest sort of plays out over a period of time. And you're right, there is a cost. The cost is on the second page. Councillor Peters.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of research on this. I'll just read it out.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Okay, right. So I can't support the current toilet attendant proposal as it stands. It costs over £80,000 a year. Yet it still doesn't provide full coverage across all three sites, leaving gaps where vandalism could still occur. From the little research I've done, most vandalism happens between 5 and 8 p.m, mainly by juveniles after school. Since the toilets close at 7 p.m, it makes sense to target those final 2 hours on weekdays, so 5 to 7. If we start just 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday from 5 to 7, and 12 hours on Saturday and Sunday, we'd still maintain a meaningful deterrent, provide a 34-hour-week job for somebody, and reduce costs to around £35,400 a year, saving almost £45,000. If you feel we must put attendants in the toilets, this is a far more realistic and cost-effective approach, and I propose that we trial a targeted approach rather than proceed with the full-time plan.
Okay. There are many options as to how to deal with this. So, Councillor Baygrove.
So for all of my life, there have been attendants at one point or another in toilets that aren't too far away from here. And the attendants used to clean the toilets. So I would like to know, we've already got cleaners for these toilets, and we're now going to install attendants, which surely will clean the toilets. And this brings me to say that we then don't need the contractor that we've got in place, as well as attendance. We just don't need both of those things. I think really I'd like to see this be deferred, and so we can have a proper talk and make a proper plan with this, because it's like a business plan really. We haven't got one. You know, everyone's going to put their tuppence worth in, and at the end of the day it's very important because it's an astronomical amount of money. I still would like to see the money slots on the doors, because they used to be on the toilets. Anywhere you go, you've got the attendant, she's doing the cleaning, you pay your 5p or 10p or whatever it is to go into the toilet. And people expect that, and it's not abnormal. So that's what I've got to say on that so far.
I think it's very interesting because I saw it very similarly. And if you take the cost that we spend on cleaning the toilets, roughly that would take 30 to 35,000 off the 80,000, because it would be the same people that would be doing this as the cleaners. So there is some more work to be done on this. This isn't the final document, but this is painting a picture of, we've seen, and it's right and proper, I think, that our officers have recognised that damage has been done. How long do we keep the damage being done and keep repairing it and do nothing about it? So this is our opportunity, and I don't expect a decision tonight on this by any stretch, but it's our opportunity to share our views, take them away, and then come back. So, Councillor Plym.
Yeah, read through this quite a bit of interest actually. I would have liked to have seen a fourth toilet on their West Parade, but we're in this muddy waters where some's going to private enterprises, some's going to district unity authority. It's a complete mess, the whole thing, and I would have liked to seen the West Parade there, so everything on the seafront would have been covered. But it's not. Whether it can be, I would like that put in there. With regard to what Councillor Baygrove said about putting the money in the slots and whatnot, that is extremely dangerous now because people break them open. I went up to London recently. All the toilets up there, in public toilets, were contactless cards. Correct. And it worked absolutely amazing. If we can get that installed, that will be brilliant there. Looking at the report that's written down, it says potential for conflict. I would hope that our staff receive some training on how to defer or deflect that potential for conflict, because unless you've got that training to deal with people with aggressive attitudes, you're putting someone in the lion's den there. potentially. So I would like some training for that for those members of staff there. I think it's a risk that's highlighted here as well regarding annual leave and illnesses, absenteeism. If one of those members of staff goes sick, how do we cover that? How do we ensure continuity of the service that we're trying to uphold there? The same true as annual leave cover. How is that going to be covered off so we get continuity of service there? And also, reading through it, it says the attendant will be based at Channel View East.
Yep.
I wouldn't want anyone to be based at Channel View East.
No.
It's an absolute pigsty.
So
Are we going to...
I get that, but there is a space there that could be converted. That's the reason why that's suggested.
There may be a space there, but we are going to have to put some work into renovating that
Yep.
because it is horrible. I
And
want
sick
anyone to
commission.
be based in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Also, there's a cost. Their hours. I'd like to see a little bit more defined how that's going to work, how they're going to dovetail each other and things. Their meal breaks in there. How is that going to be placed in?
Probably this isn't overly clear on this point. They're probably not going to be employed by us, but subbed out to someone. So holidays and sickness, that would be for that company to put somebody else in place.
They'll still be providing a service under our umbrella.
They will. They absolutely will. But we wouldn't have to necessarily worry about a shortfall of if somebody on holiday or sick, because that will be for the company to still cover that.
But we would like that assurance from that company that's holding that contract.
Yep.
that will be covered
Absolutely.
in their absence.
Absolutely.
So that's why it wasn't clear on here where that comes through.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd like, if we do go ahead with some form of attendance, and I think attendance is the way forward, there's no doubt about it, would be to put a trial period in and just review it and make sure that it's working. Because there's no good sort of signing the contract up and saying, look, we have you, and then finding out, actually, it's not working.
Yeah. Because it could be that they see the attendant disappear somewhere and still damage.
Exactly.
Councillor Winter.
Thank you, Chair. I don't agree with toilet attendance at all. It's very sort of 1940s-ish. I think it's an outdated practice, and I think what Councillor Plim has just said, I think we run a real risk of safety for anybody placed in any toilet in Bexhill or anywhere in the country. These people, these delinquents that are destroying the toilets, that they're smart. So even if we put people in there, they'll know that, okay, well, this one goes off between 3 and 4 in the afternoon to another toilet, right, we'll go in there then, or blah, 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 that sort of thing. I would like to see a pay-per-use charge, which is something I proposed at this council 4 years ago, and I was actually told to shut up. As Councillor Plim said, we need to be using contactless machines. It's what they do very successfully over in Eastbourne. We need to be recouping some of our costs that we are spending on these toilets, and we are constantly seeing on social media, the damage, and then, the keyboard warriors that come out, against the town council and the toilets and what have you. So the way to do that is people need to pay. They want good toilets, they need to pay. And then we are offsetting our costs against those toilets. We don't need to be making a profit and charging extortionate amounts, but we need to be making something to put back into those toilets. Putting toilets attendance runs all sorts of risks, and the biggest risk for me is safety. What we're going to give these people, you go into the co-op now and they've got CCTV cameras on their persons, so we're going to be recording people while they have a wee. We're going to have bulletproof vests on these people, because the world we live in, I would put nothing past anybody. So, whereas a contactless machine, yes, there may be a large outlay to put those in, but no one's going to get hurt.
Okay. Councillor Lee.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with what Councillor Winter said, and also what Councillor Plim said. In France it works very well. There's a system they've got there, it's called Madame Pipi, and they sit outside and they look after the toilet, but maybe we're talking a different world now. But they did work, and they do work. The other alternative, I also agree with what Councillor Plim said, those ones on Channel View East, they're not fit for purpose anymore. I really don't think they are. modular toilets that, like they have again in Europe, I think would be the answer. I know it's a big step forward for Bexhill, considering the town we live in, an Edwardian town. But I think at one point we need to step forwards and say these toilets are the ones we can have. You can buy them, they're modular, they're self-cleaning, they're anti-vandalism. They cost a couple of quid, but in the long run, as you were saying, to pay for somebody to look after these and all the money we're paying out to stop the vandalism, the ones in Devonshire Square, that's fine, they can stay. But the ones on the seafront, I do really believe they should be modular toilets, and they could be the ones that you push a button, you come in, you come out, they're vandal-proof inside.
Yeah, we have to remember...
It's a way forward. I know there's going to be a lot of people saying that this is not great for this town, Edwardian town as we are, but I think we need to be dragged screaming and shouting into the 21st century.
This is really about setting the scene. We have to be mindful, Councillor Quinn's mentioned it already, that there's things happening with devolution and potential other businesses taking some down the seafront. So it may not be possible at all of them. I would like to add Sidley into the pot as well.
Of course.
But where do you extend it to? Do you go all the way out to Norman's Bay for the time that Norman's Bay is open? This could be a huge cost, and that's why we've got to be really clear as a council, because we're going to have some huge costings coming down the track in the next 2 years. But it's right that we discuss it here for the officers to take it away and come back, because residents have noticed, there's photographs, they see what's happening. If we don't protect the assets of this town somehow, we're not doing our job as a town council. So,
sorry, if I may, this is what I'm saying, with these modular toilets that you can buy, they really are plug and play.
Yeah.
And they are vandal proof. Okay, you can graffiti the outside, but the insides, they're all metal. They dispense the toilet paper, they wash themselves. And I think that is a step forwards.
Okay.
My personal view.
I'm moving on down this side. Councillor Jacqueline, then on.
I'd like to add in a couple of other considerations into the pot, and I think I'm basically open to the idea of there being attendance. I think the research that Councillor Peters did is interesting. I'd also observe that vandalising toilets, it's a spontaneous recreational thing, so it's not quite the right word.
Pursuits.
But it's not like stealing things,
No.
which is more targeted and planned.
Yeah.
And therefore not knowing when there's going to be someone there might help. I think there are two other problems. The Normans Bay toilets, which Council has already discussed, has been graffitied, and there have also been 3 locations in St Mark's where there's been problems with cottaging, one of which was the toilet. So by cottaging, what I'm referring to is homosexual men agreeing a place to meet up and it being a risk to children and members of the public.
Okay. Councillor Byrne.
Thanks, Chair. I agree with Councillor Winter in terms of we will be putting someone in a front line position in a very different world from the one where we used to have toilet attendants. But I agree with you when you say we've got to be seen to be doing something. Also, with Councillor Peters' research, there's a period in the day when it's more this vandalism is more likely to occur. If only we could have, or I wonder if we could talk to our local neighbourhood police team, a couple of high-profile prosecutions for criminal damage, and then a follow-up with schools explaining to people that, okay, it's criminal damage and we just got to up on the knuckles, but if you've got a criminal record, there are many careers that are going to be barred to you. Many avenues forward you have immediately cut off, and I don't think these kids are really thinking that. And in Bexhill, for some reason, criminal damage in toilets seems to have become a fashion. Other places it's paving fences down. Some places it's destroying people's hedges. So we're in the eye of a storm at the moment in terms of dealing with or trying to deal with vandalism. But I really feel that if we could just see more action from the police and restating that this is a criminal offence, it's not just fun or writing on walls or breaking the odd door. So, and given the short time period during which it mainly happens, I would have hoped the police could do something for us in that area.
It is worth noting that operationally East Parade now closes at 3 o'clock.
Sorry. Just to mention, Michelle actually had a meeting with the police today and did speak about that. So.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Joey.
Okay, Councillor Baygrove. Councillor Baygrove.
Just to say that at the weekend, last weekend, we held a Rother forum, and we had the police there giving a talk, and we were told that the new police hut, it was referred to as a shed, I think. Pod, sorry. Is going to be actually stationed next to or near to the toilets in Devonshire Square, which I think will be a very good idea and a great place and a deterrent in the main. So that was something good that came out.
Very good.
Okay. Did you want to add anything to this, Michelle, or have you got some more information to take away?
No, I've got all this information.
Okay. Would anybody else like to add anything or say anything else? Councillor Prim.
Just through you, Chair, to ask the Financial Officer, what is the time scale for this endeavour? Will you be able to come back to the next full council meeting with something a little bit more robust that we can sort of...
Yeah, this was literally drafted by the operations manager with a little bit of input from me, just to kind of create this discussion point, really. Obviously, like I say, I spoke to, I had a Zoom meeting as part of town and parish councils today with the PCC. I mentioned about the issues that we've got in Bexhill regarding the vandalism. They're giving me some information about a youth enforcement officer, so hopefully I can have a meeting with them and try and get them on board and discuss what we can do going forward. But yeah, that's fine. I can look at all the information that you guys have given me today and put something more substantial together for the next full council meeting.
So, thank you for bringing this to full council, because it's really important that we are reacting to some potentials.
So we're deferring this pending further research?
Yes.
Cool.
Happy to defer pending further research and information as discussed tonight. Councillor Thomas.
Yes, we're talking about cameras all around Bexhill town centre.
Yep.
Do the police think that this will have any impact on the vandalism?
Cameras? What will cameras have impact on vandalism?
There's a piece of work that is still to be carried out, but time doesn't permit at the moment to review all of the CCTV in Bexhill, but that's a massive project, and I think there was a 3-year time span for that to happen.
We have booked in the meeting.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah,
So-
it is tomorrow.
Because CCTV's been there for some of them for a long, long time, and we don't know whether the world's changed, whether they're in the right place, blah, blah, blah. It linked in with the motion that was passed around extra CCTV in Edgerton Park when there was some incidences. So that's all part of the overall picture. Councillor Jacqueline.
I think the problem is that the act of vandalism doesn't have a date and timestamp,
No.
such that you don't know which bit of CCTV to look at. Additional thought, could this be part of the disc system, or is probably is it worth just bringing it up on November the 6th at the disc meeting?
It's a good point, because it is a crime, but they're probably not lodged through DISC.
Yeah.
So maybe we should register to be part of DISC to lodge the crime. We can ask that on the 6th.
We are part of the disc system.
Okay. That's the answer. We should lodge them. Shall I move on, as that's now deferred, pending more work? Okay. I'll move on to item 14, which is motions from councillors. I will say before we go on to these, there's 7 or 8 this month. There's probably 40 that haven't been done in the last 18 months because of the backlog of work, because there's far too much motions, and it's going to get to the point where we're going to have to just stop putting motions through as councillors, because there's other stuff that's more important that we're not getting to because of the quantity of work. And I'm including myself in this because one of the motions is mine, but we've got to move some of this forward. So I'll move on to 14A. Councillor Lee.
Yes. I've left my notes at home. but I'll go on to it. Some of you got that little piece of paper I sent you, or put out there. On the top picture, number 1, that's the 259 Little Common Road. And problem we've got is, along that road, all the cars there are parking on the pavement. It's very difficult to get down there if you're double buggied or if you're in a wheelchair, and access is a big problem on that piece of road. The other side of the road, however, there is 5 metres of grassland. There's a couple of days back, but someone was planting some things down there, wildflowers. But what I'm proposing is to put grass mats. These grass mats you'll see in number 3, they cost £20 a piece. And they're 1 metre by 1 metre 5. And that could go all the way along that stretch on the grass on the other side of the 259 Little Common Road there, to link up the 2 paths. You'll see X to X. It's about 200 metres. I've already spoken to Brian Griffiths, who's head of Parks and Technical in RDC. He's given the go-ahead if we want to do this. What it will do, you can, instead of when you're coming out of St Stephen's, which is my ward, sorry, when you're coming down, if you want to go to the leisure centre, if you want to get into town, you could use that instead of trying to negotiate the other pathway on the other side of the road with those cars parked there. There is no other option for those people to park, and there's no double yellow lines, and you wouldn't want to put them anywhere, anyways, I should say. The other alternative would be put a line down the pavement, and that would that would annoy them anyway. This is a solution that would work, to link those 2 paths up. The town rangers could do that. The total cost would be about £3,500–4,000.
Okay.
They are grass mats. If you look at the last picture, what they'll do, I'll finish this up, is they'll protect the soil, they'll protect the grass. When people go running up and down there, when people use you can use a wheelchair on top of them, you can drive on top of these things. They will sink into the ground, they'll protect the ground. There's going to be a cross-country run going through there in November, I think, and that will just churn that all up. Put these grass mats down, that will protect that, and in 6 months the grass will grow through it, you'll see on the last picture, and the ground will be safe. You can mow over the top of it. There's no maintenance cost at all once these are down. They'll last 10 years. That's what I'd like to propose there. Instead of putting a tarmac path through, which is going to cost 20 or 30,000. That will cost that £4,000.
Okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Councillor Baygrove.
I'm always open to people's new ideas. Excuse me. But this one I'm not keen on it, to be honest. And also this will be an RDC thing. That ground belongs to RDC. I'm saying don't fix what's not broken. It's been like that for years and forever. It's been like that forever. You do see people walking along there occasionally on that side with their dog or whatever. They're normally going onto the downs from the other side of the road. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Sorry.
Okay. What I
you have the right to reply.
Sorry.
You have the right to reply to that.
Yeah. The problem I have is the other side of the road, where the cars are parking on the pavement. If I meet somebody coming down that way in another chair or in a buggy, I've got to back up all the way back, and then we're talking 200 metres. I've got to back away. That's an alternative, a workable alternative. That's not expensive, and that way, when they come from St Stephen's onto that footpath, which ends on the down road, you can come straight along there to the other footpath, and then get into London Road to get up to the shops in town. If you try and negotiate that, I think this is funny. When you've got the bins out, when the cars are parked there, you've literally got this much space to get down. This won't get down there. Double buggies are really difficult to get down there when the cars are parked, and there's no alternative for anybody else to get down that way. This is what I'm proposing down as an alternative. It's simple, it's cheap, and town rangers can pop that.
Okay. Councillor Jacklin.
So my understanding is the motion is to consider, and in that respect I would like to support it and will second it. We had a similar discussion at Coombe today because there were football pitches and it was about health and sport and somebody wanted people to go jogging. So I think from what you said is that if people wanted to jog along there, it will be better than a bunch of mud.
Exactly, it will churn all the mud up, it will churn all the grass up, and every time when someone tries to walk down there or goes down there with a push there, it churns it up. These grass mats, they protect the ground, it's preservation as well. It's good for the environment, it's good for everybody, and you can mow over the top of them.
Okay.
They're an ideal solution to rather than putting a footpath in.
Councillor Prim.
Yeah, I think, as with all these matters, I think you have to contact Highways first to ensure that they will let you do this. And it's the clerk would have to contact them to see whether it's feasible for them to put it in there. I do worry the fact that if we're creating another footpath on the other side of the road, the potential is people will be crossing the road at various points across this very busy road rather than the two major crossing points. That could be the risk that Highways will present to us as being the reason why they will not go ahead with this. However, it seems sensible, but until you've looked into it and spoken to Highways and got their view, and they will do a considerable amount of risk assessments regarding anything to do with footpaths and roads and whatnot. So until we get the information back from them.
My thoughts on this is...
If I may, Councillor, I've spoken to Parks, Brian Griffiths. It's nothing to do with Highways. He's given us the go-ahead if we want to do this. It's not Highways.
Can't do that.
Sorry,
he did.
I just want to speak on this.
Hang on.
With all due respect, it's not a councillor's place to get the go-ahead from RDC. What needs to happen is the motion... It's fine, I'm just going to explain it for clarification for everyone. What needs to happen is the motion comes for me to contact RDC. Because it's all well and good for you to say they've given us the go-ahead, but unless I have official confirmation of that, if we were to install this and something went wrong and we didn't actually have an official go-ahead, we're completely liable for that.
So I'm out of order, am I? A little bit. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
He's probably out of order for giving you that implication that he's giving you the go-ahead to do it as well.
It's recoverable.
Got that.
Sorry,
it's recoverable and done for the right reason. I'll just say where my point is on this. My wife used to live in one of these houses. These cars have been like this since cars were first parked outside. I've never known the position where somebody who wanted to pass and a buggy was coming towards them, there was always a space in between the car for the pusher of the buggy to move out of the way. I cannot really get my head around the logic of creating a secondary footpath when on that side of the road it regularly floods. So if you're riding your chair along there and a car drives past, I'll guarantee you will be soaked.
You're talking about where I'm on about.
If you put where the...
completely wrong. No, you're completely wrong. Because that piece of grass on the other side of the 259, that's 5 metres wide.
Yes.
Where I want to put that, it's a metre wide, these grass mats. They won't even be seen once in 6 months because the grass will grow through them. That piece of road there, coming down there, where those cars are parked, that is very difficult for me. I've been there with a constituent, and it is very difficult to get down there. We encountered a lady with a buggy coming the other way. We've got to get into people's driveways, or even get off the curb. We can't get off the curb in these things. It's a simple solution to a problem that exists.
Okay. It may be a simple solution, but I don't think it's as simple to make it happen, personally. You've got to involve highways, because you do have to involve highways, because you would then encourage more people crossing by creating a secondary pavement. They would have to do risk assessments. They'd probably have to put in a pedestrian crossing, because otherwise somebody in a chair wouldn't be able to get up over the curb onto... It's not as simple as... So, but that's just where I am. We are just considering the purchase and installation.
Can I just pull you up on that? Where that footpath ends, if you look on that map, the footpath ends, and then the grass verge goes all the way along to another footpath. Both of those ends have got a crossing. You don't need another crossing. You don't need to involve highways. This is just parks.
If you have it from one end to the other,
yeah,
you can get across there now anyway.
You can't go all the way down there.
I think
What I'm saying is I want to avoid going down that path all the cars are parked on.
okay. There are other.
That's what I want. There is
there are
not an
other
alternative.
pavements. Yeah.
Because we're in wheelchairs, these things are battery life. We need to get from A to B. And if I need to go 3 miles out of my way, that takes 3 miles out of this for me to get back. Now, that is a straight line. It's a simple, easy solution.
Okay.
I want it from there to there.
So the motion is to consider the purchase and installation. That needs to be changed if you want to progress
Please.
that, which is to consider to ask the clerk. But bearing in mind, I've already said we've got all this other work that is
Of
backing
course,
up.
yeah.
Where does this sit in the priority, which leads on to 14B probably. So if
Can I just-
you amend that motion,
Sure.
because we can't consider the purchase and installation tonight. It's not our responsibility. The land isn't ours. It's Rother District Council's. So we can't just go and put something on Rother District Council's land. So it has to be change the wording, Councillor Lee, to say for the clerk to investigate the possibility of the installation.
Can I, sorry, just share, sorry. So when I spoke with Parks and Technical there, I was out of order to bring that up because he gave like permission already.
There was no motion through this council to enable anyone
so
to do that.
that's something I shouldn't do. It should have gone through the clerk.
But you're it's a learning curve.
I'll do it, yeah. Okay. Sorry, Joe. I'll do it to you next time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm not telling you, I'm no different to the other 17 councillors on the town council, so I'm not telling you off. It's a learning thing that you'll
I thought I'd
evolve
done it
into
right,
this.
that's all. Yeah.
And it's through
Yes, please go.
through the
Go
desire.
ahead.
So if you change that to investigate the potential of the purchase and installation of, and have a seconder,
Can we add when workload allows?
when workload allows,
I'll second it.
because it's priorities. Do we want to protect assets that we've talked about earlier? Do we want to do something new? We've got the Pebsham recreation that has been on the burner for 18 months. There's lots of things that we've got that are all coming down the track. So everything's going to have to say when time permits.
Yeah. Okay.
So you've got a proposal.
Let's hope Bexhill rolling crew gets up and running, and then we can do that sort of thing. But yes, no, put that through as you said, please, Chair.
Would you like to have a go at reading the motion?
So it will be an amended motion was accepted and it was resolved for the clerk to investigate the possibility of the installation of rubber grass matting along the A259 Little Common Road to link 2 pathways and crossing points together when workload allows.
Proposer and seconder. Okay. All those in favour of that motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those against? That's carried 7-3. So 14B is my motion, and it's to establish or to consider establishing a regular meeting to be defined in the future of all committee chairs and the council chair to review outstanding motions and plan strategic priorities. I just want to talk through what I'm seeing that as, and then I'll open it to debate. I've already said that we've got lots of things that we talk about. We have motions. I personally have put 2 motions forward to have a plan, a strategy, something, and we've sat in this room and we put lots of post-it notes on the walls and we've talked about the strategy of this council, and we still don't have a strategy, and we have all these things that are on our clerk's list of things to do, and it just really concerns me, and it should be strategy working with operation to define where the council is driving towards. I've suggested the committee chairs because they're all elected, and there's 3 committees and the chair of the council, and this will set it up for the future, so then those elected chairs can then drive the strategy and then bring it back at every full council to say this is what we think. Because a lot of people are on committees. If you're not on committee, you can lobby the chair of the committee that you want something to go through, so you wouldn't miss out. But I just think that this council has to try and do something differently because we are getting stuck in the mud. If you look at what we've actually achieved in how many years? 4.5 years. We now look after the allotments, we're cleaning some toilets, we've got some town rangers, we've got notice boards, and we've got all this work we want to do, but our clerk and her team are doing as best as they can, but there's no strategy behind what is the right thing to do with the right order operationally, and it should be a joined up way of thinking. So I'm putting that forward as other councils do it. We historically have not, and I think we have to change something. If you think also about scene setting with devolution, lots of other stuff, we are going to be hugely busy with stuff that's going to get done. So it's, and I'm not saying we set up this committee first one next week, because it will take our clerk time to prepare it in terms of reference and everything else. So we're probably not looking at probably January, and if they're monthly, we'd have then 3, potentially 4 in this term, and then we'll start another year and we'll try it and see how it works. But I just felt that I needed to table something to try and build some strategy. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so open to the floor. Which one am I going to go? I'm going to go this side and I'll come round that way this time. Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, it's the duty of councillors to set the strategy. There is little guidance as to the degree of importance of each item, in my view anyway. And this motion is designed to inform the town clerk as to the order items should be attended to.
Okay. Who's next? Councillor Chaplin.
Yeah, I would support the motion, and I think prioritising is important. And if, for example, we had a strategy to make Bexhill a more accessible town, that would not necessarily end us up with doing a new footpath, but say that we have to look at things like footpaths. I'd say monthly is a bit often, maybe quarterly is enough. I would quite like the opportunity for non-chairs to attend, such that there could be the first half of the meeting where anybody can talk about anything, and then we have to shut up.
Okay. Councillor Winter.
Thank you, Chair. While the intention to review outstanding motions and discuss priorities may appear constructive, in practical and constitutional terms, this proposal risks creating what would in effect be an executive committee, a body that would assume oversight, coordination and potentially decision-making powers that properly belong to the full council. Under our standing orders and the principles of local government law, strategic planning and the setting of priorities are the exclusive authority of the full council. Any attempt to delegate or centralise these functions within a smaller select group of chairs fundamentally undermines both transparency and the democratic process. Furthermore, this proposal has a clear resource and procedural implication. Would the town clerk be required to issue formal summonses and attend these meetings to record minutes? If so, it kind of takes away the point of the motion. This would impose an unnecessary administrative burden and divert valuable officer time away from essential town council functions. The motion also raises a significant question of legitimacy and accountability. If this group is not a formally constituted committee, it cannot make or recommend decisions under lawful authority. If it is to be constituted as such, then its purpose and powers must be clearly defined within standing orders and approved by full council. Otherwise, it risks operating in a grey area that is neither transparent nor procedurally sound.
So, as the right to reply to that, just pointing out that I never said that this suggestion would be decision making. I said that it would come back to full council with where they are. Those decisions have already been made, and there will be a terms of reference to deal with all of those things that you've read from your pre-written statement. So I don't see there's any legality behind doing this that could cause a problem. I just see it as you could almost say a working group trial to see whether there's any benefit behind it. But unless we do something like this, we're not going to know whether it's going to work or not. And I think the town council's been in operation for quite a few years now. It's about time that we've already changed some things. We've changed the regulation, not the regularity of finance meetings. They're now only every other month because we've recognised that a lot of it is just tick box and not necessary. So there is some time. I have had a conversation with our clerk hence why potentially it would be maybe January, which means we could have one in January, one in April, and make them quarterly. But I think we've got to try something, because at the moment, as we've heard already, people put a motion forward. It's a really practical thing to do. It goes on and nobody knows when that list is going to be complete. So that's my right to reply. Which way was I going? I'll come to you, Councillor.
This particular motion will not stop the process of councillors putting motions into full council to go through the system.
Correct.
It will not do that at all. What it will do, it will replicate exactly what happens every pre-meeting that each chair has with the town clerk, because that's exactly the conversations you have. You look through the agenda and you look at what other things are coming up, and the clerk operationally looks at the pipeline of work and places things on the agenda. That is working. The fact that we've got too many things on the pipeline doesn't mean we have to set up another committee to have another talking shop to just carry on with what we're doing already. It's working slowly, but it's working.
So I've got a right to reply to that. I disagree with it.
Can I go one before?
Sorry, I thought you finished.
No, I hadn't. And before you have your right to reply, I'd like to point out you didn't get a seconder for this motion.
I haven't asked for one yet.
No, exactly. But before you debate it,
I think Councillor Jackson.
before you debate it, you should have a seconder.
I think Councillor Jackson.
Well, thank you very much, but that should have been done before.
I think you'll find he did. He did say he would support it. So just to come back to you, you're satisfied that we have no strategy at the moment as to what the priorities are, and that things are working very slowly. If all councillors are here are satisfied with that, then I will withdraw this motion. But I'm not satisfied with that, and it's no fault of any one person. It's just where we are, and I think we've got to try and do something different.
Can I reply to that? Question was directed to me, was it? You said if you're satisfied.
I have the right to reply to you. You don't have the right to reply to my right to reply to you.
Fair enough.
Can I speak quickly?
Yeah.
I think this needs a little bit more of an in-depth discussion, specifically about staff and workloads, but we can't have those discussions in the public domain.
No.
So can I advise that we move this to closed session? Thank you.
Okay. Tonight?
Yes.
Okay. You happy to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Moving on, item 14C, Councillor Jacklin.
So at the open meeting at the Delaware, the Rother chair said that they had submitted a bid for the unitary authority to be defined as the East Sussex geography.
Yeah.
So I'm merely asking the town council to support that geography, not the whole thing. I'm sorry, we've got the wrong one.
Yeah, you're on 14D. Don't worry, carry on, we'll come to see afterwards. Carry on.
I'll put my glasses on. So I'm merely asking the town council to support the geographical aspect, not the whole proposal for One Sussex.
Okay. I've got a seconder.
Yeah.
Councillor Byrne. Okay. Debate. Who would like to? Councillor Blagrove.
Sorry, I'm not quite clear on what you've just
So just to
So
maybe because I wasn't at that meeting.
Yeah, so under local government reorganisation, I think the meeting was, let's say, 3 weeks ago, and the day before, Rother and other district and borough councils had put in proposals for the unitary authority, of which we will be part, to retain the East Sussex County definition, and then there would be two others, Brighton and West Sussex. So that's the 3 unitary authorities. So my motion is to support that geographical definition. In the meantime, the Bexhill Labour Group has said they do not support that, and there is an alternative proposal with 5 areas. I don't know enough details about the others. I'm merely asking us to support the rather geographical proposal, which is something that the CEO of Rother said she would welcome.
Would it help?
I think that's why she said she would welcome it, yes. it means that so if the risk is, if there is a 5, then hence that's the motion after next, is that there could be a coastal strip which might be Brighton through to Hastings, and that's not something I particularly welcome.
Thank you.
Councillor Winter?
Yes, thank you. Simple point, really. I don't think it really matters what we say. The government are going to do exactly what the government want to do, and I don't think it matters what any of the councils, boroughs, districts. They really don't even care what the town or parish councils think, let alone the districts or boroughs. So, you know, again, I think there was a similar motion a few months ago about, you know, supporting the colonnade. What kind of support are we, you know, are rather looking for here, or are we going to give? Is it just a little statement from the town clerk on behalf of the town council, or is it more than that? But yeah, I think either way, however the motion falls, it doesn't. No one is going to be really quite bothered by it.
I see C and D being linked together, and it is just a...
D and E.
Sorry, D and E being linked together. We'll come back to C. And it's an important thing, because East Sussex geographically has existed a long time. So why would we lose that? So, but I'm not sure what impact, as Councillor Winter says, us supporting them, because it's probably out of our remit, but be a nice thing to do maybe. Councillor Prim.
Yeah, for the town council to support Rother District Council's proposal for a one Sussex, I don't know whether their view of a one Sussex includes Brighton and Hove.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. So what we're agreeing to is rubber stamping Rother's policy on how they feel a unitary authority should be. But I don't know too much about, like Councillor Jacqueline pointed out, he didn't know too much about the 5 systems. I don't know too much about the alternatives either, because I've tended to sort of think, well, government's going to decide that, and nobody's having a say in it, let alone the people that are actually going to be expected to vote for councillors on this.
Well,
they haven't been asked.
This could be a massive conversation, because there have been consultations. There are varying views, and varying boroughs and districts and counties have put through varying options, but rather have decided that one East Sussex, not just one Sussex, one East Sussex is the preferred option. Councillor Byrne.
I think it's not Rother that decided on one East Sussex. That
That
document, which is in the public domain, is being produced with all the district councils that would be involved. Wealdon hesitated a bit at the last minute, but still have voted to let this document, and the document is called One East Sussex, and it's not Rother's view. It is, as Councillor Winter said, it's largely the government said we want something that looks this shape and this size, and we've said here's something that looks that shape and that size. The Labour group have put forward alternatives. Those are costed, or at least looked at, but not costed in the same degree, but they are costed within the One East Sussex document. So, having read it, I'm very happy to support it, and I would be very happy if the town council were to lend its support. Again, if we're all going forward in a positive way, there's a chance this local government reorganisation will get done and dusted sort of quicker, because at the moment so many things are in limbo because of local government reorganisation, that the quicker it settles the better for everybody.
Any councillor who's not aware of this should go on to Rother District Council and find
and read the One East Sussex document.
It's important to us that we understand it. It's going to impact us. Councillor Blagrove.
So with respect to Councillor Jacqueline, obviously you've heard the CEO of RDC asking or suggesting that would be great. But I'm keen for this council to stop talking and wasting time on things that are not our remit. And this is not our remit. This is none of our business. You know, we're the lowest tier of governance, and this is nothing we say or do that makes any difference whatsoever.
You have a right to reply, Councillor Jacqueline.
Okay. I believe it is part of our remit, and whilst I do think I am aware of futility and pointlessness I do not believe that's the situation here. I think that the East Sussex County Council did ask residents for their views,
Yeah.
and that was presented at the Delaware meeting, and I believe it was that 70% of residents wanted to stay as East Sussex. I think the motion as presented could be improved by removing Rother and making it clear that it's just to support the proposal that the new unitary authority retains the East Sussex geographical definition. It's not about the whole thing, it's just that we're in East Sussex.
And we will be within that unitary authority. Councillor Timpey.
Yeah. I'd just like to take exception with the fact that this is none of our business. It's very much our business because eventually Bexhill Town Council will have some power in the whole situation. So I just think that to think that it's not important to us is not really understanding the whole picture.
I didn't say it's not important.
Yeah, but you said it's not our remit, which to me means it's not important.
Through the chair, if we can.
Yeah, sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
But I just think we need to recognise that this is a very significant happening, and it's happening to us by the government. I mean, we didn't ask for it, but so it's happening. And I think it's a terrific opportunity for the town council, and will be a good thing if when it happens. And I think the time frame is actually, rather than happening quicker, is actually extending. So, who knows?
Could I suggest, Councillor Jacqueline, that the motion be changed a little, amended?
Yeah.
For the town council to support the unitary authority being created of 1 East Sussex.
Yes. And I don't think we need Rother in there.
No.
Right.
We don't need that in there. Replace Rother District Council with one with unitary authority, because that's what we're.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. It is literally an email, but it shows that we recognise that we are a part of that unitary authority. Whether we want to be, we will be, because it's a government decision which we cannot object to. Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. When you say 1 East Sussex,
Yep.
I take it that means the county of East Sussex.
Correct.
For there, oppose any proposal of Bexhill-on-Sea unitary authorities Brighton and Hove. But they are also a member of.
That one's to oppose.
Sorry?
If you're talking about E, that is the town council to oppose any proposal where we're a part of it. Brighton and Hove won't be part of 1 East Sussex.
So 1 East Sussex is not one county of East Sussex.
It excludes the unitary authority of Brighton and Hove. Councillor Byrne.
Again, may I just say that the 1 East Sussex is not a geographical concept. 1 East Sussex is a document which goes into great detail in terms of geographical boundaries and administrative boundaries.
Yeah.
So I think really we need to, or people who are commenting on it, need to read the 1 East Sussex document, because it's not just a 1 East Sussex, it is that document and all that is contained within it. Certainly that's what I support. I wonder if Councillor Jacqueline actually meant support for that document.
No, as mentioned through the chair, this is merely to support the retention of the geographical definition of East Sussex.
Yeah.
So if Councillor Byrne feels that including 1 East Sussex confuses things,
Okay.
up to you.
I would again reiterate, if people are confused, go onto the Rother District Council website and find the document and refresh your memories. But this is just literally us being a part of it and recognising it. I think it will. So.
I'd still stand with seconding that motion.
Okay, we've got a proposer, seconder. Any other comments before I go to a vote? All those in favour, please show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those against. 2. Abstentions. 2. So that's carried. I presume that defeats your withdrawal, E?
Yeah, happy to leave E.
Can we go back then to
yeah.
C?
Sorry.
All right.
I remember that Councillor Plim had raised issues about business crime, and we discussed it at a previous meeting. And on the 6th, there's a meeting to encourage DISC. My understanding is that the DISC system, if used well, works. And at this point, it's not clear how well it's used within Rother. And so therefore my proposal is essentially to say that once it's felt that it's working, we promote it, but that before promoting it, we find out whether it's working well, perhaps by asking the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Have you got a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, got a seconder. Okay, open to the floor to debate. Questions for Councillor Jackson? Councillor Prim.
I'd just like to talk about it. I think it's essential that we get behind this system and promote it, as the wording says on it, and ensure that the retailers in this town pick up the system. They have been lulled into a sense of false security by using a WhatsApp system that is around the town at the moment. And it was made really, really clear at the meeting I attended with Councillor Bayliss and other councillors at the police headquarters a couple of weeks back, that the police do not recommend using the WhatsApp group purely because of the GDPR implications behind that, whereas the DISC system is very, very safe and secure in its use of information and storage of information. And so I think we should be 100% behind this motion.
Any other comments?
I'm not entirely sure what DISC is.
So DISC is a method of reporting incidents direct to the police, who then have a way of managing them, building a portfolio of where they are, and if there's something really important, getting there and being made aware of it directly.
Okay. So is there a telephone number or such that you call? I was in one stop the other night and there was people robbing the place, and I called 101 and I got home and I was still on the phone half an hour later.
That's where DISC comes into play. So they will build
nobody answered, so I eventually just put it down.
They will build a picture of where the incidents are. The issue at the moment is somebody's running this WhatsApp group and shopkeepers are feeding into the WhatsApp, and the records never get to the police. It's stored on a phone. And that, as Councillor Pym says, is breach of GDPR to start with, potentially, but also the true record and the true issues behind incidents of theft and other things in Bexhill aren't recorded at the police. So the police have built this system called whatever it's called, DISC. It's right at the front of my mind.
It was on the tip of your tongue. I could read it just then.
But the engagement hasn't quite worked. I'm aware that some district councillors have been out and about, and it's not just the central part of Bexhill. There's shops that get robbed in other parts of Bexhill. I know Councillor Stanger's walked the whole length and breadth of Sidley. And I know Councillor Bayliss, Councillor Stanger and other district councillors have gone round, but it's getting the engagement with the retail outlets to get them signed up to this, which is where the event on the 6th of November may help. So I'm a firm supporter. I think we should be behind this. It's our town. We're the town council. We should be promoting it.
I'll be there on the 6th to have a chat about this. This is what I want to do.
So just to help Councillor Lee understand, in the circumstances that you've just described, my understanding is that if the retailer belonged to DISC, they would log the CCTV of the incident with the police, such that if that person was also found robbing somewhere else, they would have multiple crimes to pursue that person. So it adds up, as it were.
The problem I had was the police didn't come. The police didn't even answer. That was my problem.
So the shop that you were in, if they were signed up to DISC, they would have reported it. You shouldn't have been involved because you, as a member of the public, it's the shopkeepers that have to take responsibility of DISC. but we are aware because
I probably am, because I keep seeing it happening.
I'm aware because Simon Yates is a part of the neighbourhood board and he comes to each of those meetings, so I see him on a regular basis. And there are some shops that their systems aren't compatible with DISC. Yeah. And between the police and traders, they're working on how to solve that electronically. So it's not a perfect world, but if everybody uses the one system that's been virtually built for towns like Bexhill, it can only get better. Otherwise, it's not registered anywhere. So okay. I completely support this motion.
Okay. Thank you.
So you've got a proposer, seconder. Anybody else want to say anything before we go to the vote? It's literally to consider promoting it, which means going on our website on varying things. It's not for us to go out and knock on every single business and say join DISC. That will happen through other routes. So all those in favour, please show. All those against? Abstentions? That's carried. Okay, thank you, Councillor Jacklin. Moving on to 14F, Councillor Winter.
Thank you, Chair. The motion, well, you all have the report, I think, is quite self-explanatory. And I can see that it's broken down into three parts on the agenda. I can understand why, but at the same time I don't understand why. So I'm taking it all as one, so we won't be here all night. Okay. However, I am going to make a small but material amendment to my own motion, following further discussions with local parents and carers. Obviously, the motion basically asks us to talk to East Sussex about getting a patrol officer for the A259 crossing. Yeah, that can stay, but I'd also like to include the crossing at Birkdale, as Little Common now has no, what I still call lollipop ladies, but that's probably very inappropriate to say, Alex, lollipop people at all anymore. So the motion itself stems from ongoing concerns raised by parents and carers about the safety of children travelling to and from Little Common Primary School, particularly those crossing the A259 between St Mark's Church car park, where all the parents and carers that are coming that way park, and the pathway behind Churchill Avenue. What I'm asking for is quite simple, is that the Town Clerk begin discussions with East Sussex County Council's School Crossing Patrol Supervisor, whoever thought that up, to explore the possibility of funding, whether in full or in part, a school, well now it's 2 school crossing patrol officers for this location, and now also at Birkdale. So, you know, it's not committing anything, funding or anything like that. It is just to obtain the necessary information on costs, requirements and any partnership arrangements, with the findings being brought back when workload allows to a future full council meeting. So ignore those 3 that are put on the agenda. The motion is, as I've worded it, is that I would like the Town Clerk to contact East Sussex County Council's School Crossing Patrol Supervisor to explore the potential for Bexhill Town Council to contribute funding towards school crossing patrol officers, it's just such a long name, for Little Common Primary School and the crossing at Birkdale, and to report back to full council with costings and partnership options.
Just to clarify, the investigation is to ask for 2, not 1.
2 for the A259 crossing and Birkdale, as both have been highlighted. I hope I have a second somewhere.
Have you got a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay.
2.
Yeah, just to say, if we don't get a seconder, then it falls and we don't discuss it, just to make that clear. So, debate. Councillor Pym?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very important motion. However, I believe there's one flaw in it. It's dealing with 1 school and 2 crossings now. There are several schools in the town that have lost their crossing patrols. The crossing patrol service is a non-statutory service, and therefore County Council are disposing them as quick as possible. I would suggest that the motion can be amended very, very swiftly by saying that through the devolution process, the Town Clerk contact East Sussex Services to see whether they would move the school crossing patrol services over to Bexhill Town Council, full stop. Therefore, we take ownership of the whole service, and then we can then decide where the crossing's going in the whole schools in Bexhill, rather than take them for one school and then sit back and watch all the others fall apart, because they will come to us asking, can we fund it as well? So the service is provided by East Sussex. It should be blanket wide. They've got about 70 to 100 services throughout East Sussex. In 2019, Hugh Merriman, then our MP, raised it in Parliament and was trying to make it a statutory requirement. His government, his party was in power at the time. He couldn't do it. So therefore, it's still a discretionary service. And therefore, we're in this situation where discretionary services are being pushed down or pushed out altogether. East Sussex, I'm surprised East Sussex haven't contacted us and said to us, would you like this service? Because we're now getting the people who come to us and say, can you fund it? Well, let's go to the top and say, right, let's fund it and let's look at the service within Bexhill and fund it within Bexhill as one blanket.
If you'd like to exercise your right to reply, Councillor Winter.
Yes, please. No, I completely agree with Councillor Plim. However, I would like, my opinion is, I think that should be a separate motion, because I think, I don't obviously know all the schools in Bexhill that have and don't have school patrol officers, and obviously it's a priority that as many as possible do have them. But I think Little Common has two main entrances that the children cross out, and they now have none. As far as I'm aware, don't hold me to it, King Offa still has theirs, don't hold me to it. St Richard's actually have 3. Why St Richard's have 3, I don't know, but they have 3. And obviously there are other primary schools, but I'm not an expert in primary schools, thank goodness. But Little Common have none. So I think my motion, as I would say, should stand as is, but there should be a separate motion tallying on with that I'd be happy to support, that whilst the town clerk is, because it's quite urgent about Little Common, it is a standalone item, I believe, talks to East Sussex about that. At the same time, she could be talking about the whole service as a whole being devolved to the town council. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Jacklin.
I think that obviously the A259 is a difficult and important crossing. I also agree with Councillor Plim that really this needs to be considered for all schools, but I too do not know which schools do and don't have them. I know that Westham, which is obviously which is in Wealdon, has them. I have no idea whether they're provided through funding or volunteers. Those are my observations.
Okay, Councillor Thomas.
Yes, if memory serves me correct, it's something like 6, 7, 8 years since the A259 crossing patrol disappeared. Is this correct?
Give or take, yeah.
And this is, has there been any problem since?
Thankfully not, but I don't think that's an excuse or an answer.
No, I agree. Yes, I'm not suggesting that we should wait until some a bit accident and then oh yes, we should have done something about it long ago.
Okay, Councillor Owen.
Thanks, Chair. I rather agree with Councillor Winter in that I think we should look at this motion, and I also agree that a further motion should come to Council, probably promoted by Councillor Plim, as regards devolving the whole of the service as it applies to Bexhill. But at the moment, the Councillor Winter's motion, I believe, is sort of saying, if you can't afford it, East Sussex, can we chip in a bit, and does that make it then doable? Is that I think is what he's getting at, and I think that's a good first step. So I'd like to see this motion this motion passed this time, but I fully agree that the whole crossing patrol service needs to be looked at, and with devolution coming down the track, maybe that's just a bigger thing to look at, but if the clerk could just look at the initial motion, that'd be good.
Councillor Plim.
Yeah, with what been said in mind, I'd like to suggest an amendment to the motion, if I can. And that amendment would be that the town clerk contact East Sussex County Council's School and Crossings Patrol Supervisor to begin discussions about the potential for Bexhill Town Council to have devolved the School Crossing Patrol service for Bexhill schools.
Okay. Councillor Winter, would you accept that amendment?
Sorry?
Would you accept that amendment?
Not as it currently stands, unfortunately, because I think Little Common is a little bit more of a priority, and obviously I think that could just get chucked in there and okay, well, we'll deal with that when devolution comes a little bit more of a priority. My personal opinion is I'd like to see them as separate motions. You know, Little Common and then devolve the whole service. I don't know if Councillor Plynn's motion can be discussed now. I don't see why not. He should have to wait till another meeting. But
if I can, and we'll work on this. If I could, I don't know if anyone made a note of what I said just then.
I assume you've written it down, Councillor. That sounded so good.
I have got it written down. But if I then can add on to the end of that, with the priority being given to Little Common Primary School.
Yes.
Okay. Just before I come to two others, I haven't said it yet. I think we risk. I think it was about 4 months ago when a county councillor came to us to ask us to get involved in a crossing scenario with All Saints in Sidley. And this council went, no, we're not doing that. So we've said no to children crossing one road, but we're going to investigate children crossing another two roads.
All the roads.
Potentially all the roads.
All the roads is now the motion.
I think you'll find at the time East Sussex weren't prepared to devolve that service down, and there was no discussions on about it.
And we didn't ask.
It was say, let's go pass it up to East Sussex to look at, and they haven't looked at it. And this way we can deal with it Sidley as well.
I understand where Councillor Winter's coming from. Just because one council's been proactive over schools in his ward doesn't seem right to exclude all children in Bexhill.
Not excluding.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Graybrove.
I need a second for my motion.
Okay, so you've accepted the amendment to the motion, Councillor Winter. Okay, so we've got a proposer and a seconder. Before we vote, Councillor Graybrove had her hand raised.
I would just like to say that I think the most sensible thing, because this is ultimately down to costs, and that, you know, in the first instance we should offer them to contribute to it. That would be a good thing. They're only going to say yes or no to it. If they say no, we can go in with the next step.
I'm not sure whether we could contribute a cost to a service that isn't ours. I would, with respect, suggest that we need to follow the route that the proposer and seconder is. Councillor Winter.
Just quickly. Yes, I'm happy to second Councillor Plynn's motion, you know, devolve the whole service with a priority of Little Common, but I think there should be a caveat that if they come back and go, no, we're not devolving the service right now, the caveat needs to be, okay, well, can we enter negotiations with you about funding patrol officers at Little Common then? And then it's down to other councillors, if there are no patrol officers in their wards, that's for them to
So you're now suggesting an amendment to the amendment?
Yes, because if the town clerk goes away and they say no, then this whole conversation is pointless. We need a caveat that goes, okay, you don't want to devolve the service, right? Can we part fund Little Common then?
That's the issue. We don't know whether we can fund something that's not ours.
Exactly.
Is this for the financial year we're about to enter? Because if this is about possibly funding something, we need to know where the money's going to come from. The town council does have a habit of getting into projects without knowing where the money's actually going to come from.
Reserves.
Can I suggest through you, Chair, that through this motion you will be able to seek the funding and come back to us with your findings through this, if we're allowed to take.
See, I do agree with that. The problem is we will be looking at the budget at the end of November and it has to be in by January. My fear is that if we don't get a valid response before then, it won't be included in the budget. That's just something to make you all aware of.
Our clerk is quite right, because it just comes out of general reserves, which just decimates.
Yeah, I mean it's £4,000 roughly per
Yeah.
school patrol officer. It's
Yeah.
all about £8,000 just for Little Common, obviously. But
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that much.
no.
So, we have an amended proposal with an amendment to the amended proposal
Yes.
with a proposer and a seconder.
Yes. If
Have you got the...
need it reading back?
Yes. Can't
So,
going to try and read
We're
it out.
contacting East
Connor,
Sussex
you're
County
free.
Council about the possibility of devolving all school crossings in Bexhill, with the priority being Little Common School and Birkdale.
Yeah.
And if we can't devolve the service, we're going to enter negotiations about partially or fully funding it.
Perfect.
Yeah, go for that.
Well done. That's
Right.
brilliant.
Okay. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
What she said.
I don't need to do any more, thank you. Unanimous. Moving on.
Well done, Paul.
Item 15, correspondence to consider request for the registration of new road names for submission to Rother District Council. Document was provided. This is on the, I think it's currently actually known, the North Bexhill Industrial Units. So, we've got the three names. I think they're Foundry Road, I can't remember what the other two were called. Someone will tell me.
Yeah, there's actually 3 different scenarios put in forward there. If I may, Chair, just to expand on this a little bit, because I have a vested interest being a postal worker in the town, and I did sort of speak to a few of my colleagues about this, and I can cut to the chase. I can confirm that the 3 names that they thought would be far more suitable, because there's nothing similar to anything else in Bexhill, are Foundry Road, Stile Close and Merchants Way.
Yeah.
And I think this council should recommend them to the body that's contacted us.
What was the S one? Sorry,
Stile Close.
Oh right, okay.
There's 3 distinct areas of roads that they're asking to be named.
Yeah. And we have the option to give him feedback as to what we think.
Yeah.
Previously, Councillor Prim put a suggestion forward for another road that was being named somewhere in Little Common. I can't remember, and it was to do with an ex-serviceman or...
Yeah, it was Clavering Walk, and it was accepted. Some of the names were accepted, but that was us asking to look historically at some names, and those names relate to people that are buried at the servicemen that are buried at the Bexhill Cemetery and were part of the Canadian force that were billeted on the land which is now being built on. In this situation, there is nothing historical around the area. It's land that had been farmland, and there was no pointers that we could pick up from that area.
Okay. Councillor Winter?
I just have one, it's just come to my head all of a sudden, because I just thought of my granddad who used to walk up there when he was a kid. Wasn't there some sort of great big viaduct or something up there? So I'm just thinking of like Viaduct Way or Viaduct Close or something like that. Because when you talk to a lot of older people in Bexhill who grew up in Bexhill, they remember the viaduct over that way somewhere.
That's the railway line that went across.
Yeah, so I don't know, it still sort of keeps with the industrial thing, but
I have another option that I would like to put on the table, which probably only I'm aware of. Did you know we've got the 3rd oldest person in the United Kingdom living in Bexhill?
Yes, he's a good friend of mine.
Why don't we call it Waddingham Way? Because his surname is Waddingham.
I'll declare an interest as he is a personal friend of mine.
It's a gentleman who I was advised of. His name is Harry Waddingham, and he lives in the Collington area, and he's the 3rd oldest person in the United Kingdom. And I was told of it, and I thought, this is an opportunity. Waddingham Way. It recognises somebody. There's lots of places. I used to live in Polegate, and somebody was well known there, and he had a road named after him. And 109 is quite something. And I don't imagine we're ever going to be in the top 3 of age related in Bexhill.
109?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just celebrated it.
Kids in. Go for it. I mean, stick it in there. It's fine. It's enough.
Councillor Thomas.
Just a question. Exactly where is this?
Is that the...
Exactly where is this?
It's the North Bexhill Industrial So out round the bypass on the first roundabout, as you go in, there's 3 roads where they're building the great big units.
Just to the rear of the end of Preston Road. You get to the end of Preston Road and you look across, it's there, you've got Ingham's Avenue's allotments, and it's north of that.
So, do we accept foundry, style or merchant, or do we want to change anything or suggest other things? It's easy just to go along with it. Councillor Jacklin.
Can I ask through the chair, Councillor Plym, was there a rationale for those 3 names, or are
They were the names that were suggested by the developers themselves. They put forward on the letter sent to us 3 versions or 3 names for each.
Are they random, meaningless names?
They refer to the sort of ironworks that would have been there many, many years ago, I thought,
Because I think
close
the
by.
test you applied, I quite like, in that they should be unique, but that presumably would also apply to Waddington.
There isn't one that would clash with Waddingham. What I would say, though, it's quite a wordy word.
I did actually consider this morning suggesting it as mayors of Bexhill. You could have Plym Way, Wilson Way, Brailsford, but I didn't think that would be appropriate. But somebody of 109, I thought would be a really nice thing to recognise.
Ultimately, it would be the developers that put that forward, and it will be Rother District Council that will decide. Sadly, they haven't recently had a good track record.
No,
because
but
we've got Levitts Wood over in Little Common, whereas Levitts Wood is in Sidley.
It's very difficult to get everything 100% right all the time. So maybe we could suggest one of them, and
I will put forward a motion that we put forward 4 names for the developers to go forward with: Foundry Road, Style Close, Merchants Way and Waddington Way, and let them decide after that.
I'll second that. Yeah. All in favour? Carried. Could I ask Councillor Winter, he doesn't know about this, if he's a personal friend of you that you've declared that interest, could you let him know?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And just on that point, unfortunately, it was his birthday fortunately, it was his birthday a couple of weeks ago when he turned 109. It was his wife's birthday at the same time. I think she turned about 94, and unfortunately, she passed away the next day.
She was 93 when she passed away.
Yes, so unfortunately, she passed away. So his friends are supporting him.
And he's got family around as well.
Yes, and the funeral is next month, but I will let him know on behalf of the Town Council.
Thank you. Right, moving on, item 16. To receive or answers to questions raised at the last meeting, there were none. To receive questions from councillors and any future agenda items. So this is questions for our clerk or any future agenda items. Councillor Jacklin.
Could we clarify the number of people we estimate attended the Delaware meeting, which I believe to be more than 100, not 60?
Okay. Councillor Baygrove?
Yeah. Can I ask a couple of questions, actually? Are the town rangers cleaning graffiti from the town, generally speaking? And are they going to clean and maintain the notice boards, which will save us money because we've already got somebody doing that? So since we've got the town rangers, maybe they could take on that. My next question is about the CCTV cameras. Just for clarification, how many have we got? And how many of them are operational? Which locations are they in? And have the police viewed them since we've had them? Because there have been a couple of incidents where they may have. And finally, I would like to say, which wasn't on my original questions at all, but I would like to ask if the chair could please keep in mind that councillors can have their say And why I'm saying this is because I started off speaking earlier and I wasn't looking for you to interject in my conversation.
We'll move on.
But
That's not a question.
And then you spoke over me, and please would you just let me say, you know, I should have been able to finish that.
Okay. I have let everybody speak, I believe, openly and fairly tonight. But when you were speaking, and I'm not going to discuss this any further, you were mentioning the wrong body and I was correcting you. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. It's my role here as a chair, which I've been educated at for the last 18 months through ESAC, to fairly and openly challenge and make sure that everything runs smoothly. That's all the role is. I'm no different to anybody else. We have a clerk here who makes sure that I do everything legally. If somebody states something quoting the incorrect body, it's my role to correct that. I'm sorry if you felt aggrieved at that, but I will do that again if that happens again, because otherwise you're giving our residents incorrect information. And it's on film, so that's why it's important that when people speak, homework is done, you're prepared, and again, I'm no different to all the other 17 councillors. I just make sure that what people are saying are correct. And I observe you that you are unhappy at that, but please, if you're going to say something, quote the right operational body.
I said what I had to say.
All right,
I'm not saying
thank you.
I'm unhappy about it. Please don't wonder what I'm
so,
thinking. Okay.
16C, to consider any new risks. Oh, sorry, Councillor Lee.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. I don't know if this is the right time to ask this. In the last meeting, I put that proposal forward for the curb ramps. Could I ask the clerk, have we got any feedback from Highways ESCC yet? Or is it something I could chase up?
So I will answer this in the...
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I will answer this in the minutes so that you've got it in the next agenda. But just for clarification, the reason it's not on this agenda is because updates are going to go to the relevant committee. So the Amenities Committee will receive the update.
So, can I... Yeah. When will I know if it's been passed or if it's going to come through?
When the committee finds out. So that will be at the next committee meeting on, I want to say, the 3rd of December.
And they will tell me?
Yeah, or you could read the minutes. Or you could attend.
From which committee will that be from?
Amenities. All councillors can attend any committee, but you can't speak unless you're on that committee, but you can lobby the chair or other members of that committee.
So I'd be over there? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, to consider any new risks to be added to the risk register. I go around looking always, there are none. Okay. Date of the next meeting is Wednesday the 26th of November. Motions to be delivered by the 11th of November. So at this point I'm going to close the meeting to members of the public.